NetRunner is a complicated game, and these are the top 10 mistakes that I see beginners making in my experience as a coach and also as a player. Number 10 happens right at the start, which is keeping your hand in the mulligan without an actual plan of how to play it out. Take a look at this hand, for instance. Imagine you're playing Vic, and you've got 2 copies of DreamNet, you've got a cupulation, an open market, and just a stone ship chart room. None of these are bad cards. They are all good. DreamNet specifically is kind of what you want in the mulligan. Some people might tell you to hard mulligan for DreamNet. But then think again about how are we actually going to play this hand out? We've got 4 clicks. How are we actually going to use them that's going to make any sense? We're going to click 1, install the DreamNet, go down to 2 credits, make a run, we draw 1, we go up to 3 credits. What are we using those 3 credits for? Are we installing open market with them? If we install open market with them, we're down to 1 credit. We'll get another one back next turn, but there's no clear way out of this hole, this economic hole, unless we magically draw a really good econ recovery tool. It doesn't give us great ways to deal with anything that the Corp might present. Let's say we're playing against Alco and they might present 2 or 3 assets on turn 1. I don't know if we can afford to install DreamNet without something to really back it up, and I don't think we can afford to recover with open market in that line either. So there's not a clear way that I would actually spend all 4 clicks if I kept this hand, even though everything in it is pretty good. So this would actually be a mulligan in most matchups, in most decks, if this was the opening hand that you see, because actually, even though the cards are good, there's no plan, and you should keep hands that have a clear game plan. Number 9 is not resolving your actions properly. This one's got a bit of nuance to it, but I see it happen all the time, especially in paper play, and it gives me so much information that I don't deserve when I'm going against players who are just shorthanding their actions. Let's take, for example, this overcomplicated card Moonpool. It's very powerful, it sees a lot of play, so you should know what it does, even though it's complicated. And it has a lot of different steps on it. You remove it from the game, okay. Then you trash 2 cards from HQ, put them into the archives. Then you reveal 2 face-down cards from archives, shuffle them into R&D. For each agenda you revealed this, but while doing that, you place an advancement on an installed card. So you should be fully abusing the nuances that this card gives you. For example, if you're trashing 2 agendas from HQ, you don't need to show your opponent that you're doing that. You can actually just trash any 2 cards, including agendas, and then shuffle those cards in and amongst your face-down cards and archives, and then reveal 2 of any face-down cards and archives. They can be the 2 same agendas for sure, and they usually will be. But there's no reason to let your opponent know that the 2 cards you trashed from your hand were the 2 agendas that you're revealing to them. And certainly, you should try and obfuscate as much information as you possibly can. Another thing you can do is Spin Doctor, right? You don't have to pop Spin Doctor until the moment when it's absolutely necessary. You don't have to res them on your turn either. So because the rules allow it, you should play your Spin Doctor face down, wait for them to run it, then res and pop your Spin Doctor for Spin Doctor's text if you want to. That way they actually need to commit a run to it. So these cards look like they have an obvious way that you can play with them, but there's a lot of shorthands that people just do that you just don't have to. You should read your cards carefully, understand exactly what they can do and what you do and don't have to reveal. And you'll get a little bit of extra equity this way. In at number 8, we have power drawing, which is a favorite of mine. It's a favorite of a lot of people's. It's a very polite way of basically saying drawing after you've taken an action that didn't have any randomness. What does that look like? Well, let's say you've got 2 actions left on your turn as the runner, and you want to draw a card and you want to install a Kurapira or something useful. Well, which order should you do that in? Should you install Kurapira and then draw, or should you draw and then install Kurapira? Well, because Kurapira, just installing him has no randomness, there's no weird variance that's going to happen if you install Kurapira, you should take the higher variance action first, which is drawing, and then you either install Kurapira or you can install the thing that you drew if it's better than Kurapira. One of them is strictly better than the other because it provides you more options. And so often, people will just see a good action, oh, I'm going to play my short gamble, and then I'm going to draw. No. Yeah, usually you'll want to play the short gamble, but don't get too excited and just take all your actions and then start drawing at the end of your turn. Figure out how you want to take your next couple of clicks before you take any of them, and then order them in order from highest variance to lowest variance, keeping in mind that drawing, crucially, is a high variance action to take. 7 is running for singles. Some people might have their eyebrows raised like this. Like, technically, it's fine to run for singles sometimes. You need to see cards to win, right? Well, yeah, you do, but you also need to see quite a lot of cards, and you also really need to not lose. Playing as runner is tough, and if you spend a bunch of actions, and remember, you've only got a finite number of actions before the Corp will just like action whatever game plan they have and win the game. If you actually spend all your clicks running for random singles on central servers, it's actually pretty likely that you will not see enough points to win before the Corp is ready to go. And if you're too far behind because you haven't developed your own breaker suite and economy, because you've just been spending all these clicks running for singles on top of R&D, which are like truly random, then you're going to fall too far behind and they're going to win before you can. That's a big issue. How do you avoid it? Well, you spend your clicks setting up and developing a winning board state before you make impactful runs. If you're running for singles, it should be during clicks that you don't have anything else to do that's as important, and it should also not be in the face of substantial Corp threats. Remember, your plan A as the runner is to prevent the Corp from winning. Just seeing singles will not get rid of the cohort that's been ticking against Alco. Running for singles will not deal with the agenda that the scoring Hasbairoid has pushed in their remote server. You've got to address threats well before just seeing one single card on central servers. You can install multi-access cards to make your runs have more impact, and there are times when running for singles is fine, but it should not be your main game plan. A good rule of thumb is that it takes about 18 accesses to have a shot at winning the game, if your accesses are truly random. And if they're running something like Let Them Dream or things that improve their odds into random accesses, it might take as high as like 20, 21 accesses to have a real shot at winning the game. So do you have 20 or 21 turns in NetRunner if you're seeing the top card of R&D every turn? No. So you need to be doing something more powerful than that. Do not just spend all your clicks running for singles. You will win some games and it's going to feel awesome because it's a high variance thing to do, but you will lose most of your games and you won't improve until you start setting up your board states and addressing Corp threats. Number 6 is so simple. It's bottoming out. That is running so low on credits that you can't continue to have a wide range of options available to you. Maybe you can't afford to play your cards like Sure Gamble or Hedge Fund. You can't afford to trash the threats that are being installed or res the ice that you've committed onto important servers. Going too low on credit totals to continue to play in the way you need to play. Very common way, like threshold for this is just the Sure Gamble threshold, which is after all is said and done, you should still be able to play a Sure Gamble. Otherwise, you're going to have to click for credits, which is a disaster, and you'll just won't have the options available to you. So make sure that you're planning your turns and structuring your game plan around making sure that you will have 5-ish credits available to you after all is said and done. Try not, especially in the early game, to go so low unless you have a very clear way out of it. Things like, there are cards that can fix bottoming out, but if you don't have them, don't just assume you'll draw them. You won't draw them. Don't bottom out unless you have a very good reason to, or you have a way out. 5 is Corp specific. It's icing centrals before your actual threat. And by threat, I mean the card that is like the point of your deck. Maybe it's a FUT, maybe it's a cohort guidance program in Alco, maybe it's an agenda if you're playing a scoring deck out of like Nuvang or PD. There will be, whatever deck you build, there will be like a point to it, and it will usually belong on a remote server, and it usually wants to be iced. And if you're presenting that threat, you should do it as quickly as you can, and you should do it behind ice. And if you've committed all your ice to preventing the runner from poking HQ and R&D, well, you're going to be just slower than you would otherwise be. If you have a Regolith in a remote server on turn 2, your turn 2 can be triple click Regolith, make loads of money. But if you've committed all your ice to icing HQ, icing R&D, draw another ice archives, then you feel ready to push your Regolith, well, that might be too late. The runner might have developed breakers, set up their economy, sat back, and they'll be ahead of you. People get scared, I think, is why this is overwhelmingly a beginner mistake that is easily corrected once they learn how aggressive you're allowed to be in this game as the Corp. It feels nice to have all your centrals covered, but seriously, unless you're up against a criminal because of transfer of wealth, you got to Ice HQ against that. Do not worry about your centrals on turn 1 and 2. They will hold, R&D will hold, HQ, even if it has agendas in it, it'll hold. Put an actual threat on the table, start playing as quickly as you can, or you are going to be too slow. 4 is for draw. Fearing the overdraw is a classic thing that I see all the time, where people just like have these bad hands that don't help them address the situation at hand, but they don't want to just lose them. Like, they're good cards, they put them in the deck for a reason, so they just don't draw and they just credit up until they've installed their whole hand of stuff that they didn't want, and then they start drawing for new stuff. Nope, it's a finite game. Games don't last that long. You will not run out of cards, usually. Just draw past the bad cards or the cards that are not immediately helping you and find cards that immediately address the actual situation. If your hand is full of multi-access in the early game, that's tough. It's gone. If you're a Corp and you've already installed all the ice you could possibly afford, you might have the best piece of ice in the game in your hand. It doesn't matter. It's gone. You need to find actual stuff that you can do stuff with. And that extends to a lot of things. You can overdraw agendas, especially if you have a way to deal with them. But even if you don't, you need to play. You need to find the cards that do things. And if that involves overdrawing otherwise decent cards, so be it. Just draw. Just find what you need. Don't be too precious about your cards. On the podium at number 3 is basic actions. I know you're thinking, what? You need those. You need the basic actions. Well, I'm talking about basic actions when you don't need to do them. If there is a card in your hand that is better than gaining a credit or drawing a card, you should use that 90+% of the time. If you have a Nuka in hand, do not click to draw. If you have a Carpe Diem in hand, do not click for credits. If you have basically anything really, you can't be limited by the basic actions. If it's inefficient, it's fine. Clean Getaway Archives, okay. You don't see any cards. It's not the full value of the card, but if the alternative was clicking for a credit, you do it. Oh, you got a Steel Skin in hand on turn 1 against an Alco. Oh, that's exciting. You might lose that to damage because Alco does a lot of damage, right? No, you're playing it. You've got to draw. If you don't have something better, and if you have a draw card in hand, and you're going to click for a draw, you really need to have an extremely good reason as to why you're doing that. And usually you won't. If you're installing stuff, there's not many things that can replace the actions for playing events or installing cards. So those ones are those are just fine. But for drawing credits and making runs, if you have a way to do that better than the basic action and you're not using it, you better have an extremely solid reason that you're telling yourself as you do it, I'm not clicking my Nuka here because it would put me 2 cards over hand size and I want all these cards. I'm not playing the Steel Skin here because I need it to survive double measured next turn. I'm not gaining a credit, so I'm not playing my Creative Commission here because they have a measured response in hand and I need to have 4 cards. If you have good reasons, maybe you can get around this, but 99% of the time, you don't. Just use the cards that do the actions. Don't get baited into using the basic actions. You're doing it more than you think, so just trust me. Don't use basic actions if you can avoid it. Second to last is forgetting the threats. Just straight up, oh yeah, I forgot about that card. This one happens to basically everyone, including me. It's happened to me even recently. But you can't be doing this. If you know that they're on measured response, for instance, and a lot of the time they will be on measured response, you don't really get to take a turn off where you just forget about it. You need to think about it at the beginning and middle and end of every single turn. But it's not just measured response, right? That's the tricky one. That's a really common one that you can lose instantly if you even take one turn forgetting about it. But let's think about Oppo research. You don't just take your entire turn, then think about oppo research. You need to be considering oppo research at the beginning of the turn when you're still planning your clicks. Let's talk about scoring from hand. Maybe you've forgotten about Moonpool. Oh, I didn't sweep HQ, and I didn't prevent them from I didn't make them shuffle agendas out of hand or whatever. Okay, they Moonpool you, they fast advance out the last of their points. GG. Let's talk about Regenesis. Oh, I forgot that they could have done Regenesis this turn. I didn't notice that they had a face down in the bin. That's how you lose games. That's how you lose games real quick. And it happens on the Corp side too. Oh yeah, no, I forgot that they were a transfer of wealth deck. I forgot about privileged access. I forgot about pinhole threading. These are all things that you should... Eventually you'll build up muscle memory enough to just see the IDs and know what to expect. And it's fine if you don't understand every single card that your opponent may or may not have in their deck. That's, unrealistic to expect. But once you clock onto that they're on a certain card, oh, I've seen the measured responses. That's when, it is on you. You need to know to think about this at all points, every single turn. Do not forget it. Whatever methods you have to remembering the cards that you've seen and the threats that you're playing around, use them. I think it's very different per person, so it's hard to give a one-size-fits-all. But simply don't forget about the threats that are going to end the game. Please, please, play good games. Don't let them end too early. And now the number one thing that new players do, beginners do all the time, that loses them so many games and is a hurdle to get over, is that they are too slow. And I'm not talking about physically on the clock. We don't really care about that in NetRunner. We care about winning the game, and winning the game happens by presenting threats and dealing with threats early, quickly, consistently. It does not involve slowly, clicking for credits, drawing cards with the basic actions, running for singles. It does not involve triple icing HQ, R&D, and archives before you present your first actual remote server. You need to present your game plan as quickly as you can. There are so many, this is different per deck, obviously. A fast start in Nuvem looks very different to a fast start in Alco or Reality Plus or anything like that. But whatever you're doing, you need to be doing it as quickly as your game plan can allow you. If you're as runner, you do not need all of your breakers installed before you start running. This is famous advice, but a lot of people miss out. All you need to break in the run subroutines is usually just your barrier breaker. And honestly, you can run without even that. Just get in there. If you think that what's in the remote server is a problem, sometimes you have to run it even when it's not safe to do so. Sometimes it's faster to take damage to get through a sentry than it is to find your sentry breaker and then run. And if what they've put in the remote server is threatening enough, you have to do that. Sometimes you're playing as the Corp and you've got an agenda you want to push, but maybe they have the breaker in hand that would allow them to break the ice to get us into this, so let's just wait and get another ice. No, if they're not showing you that they have the threat, just put your cards in the remote server. Even if they have the answer, it's going to be expensive, it's going to be click intensive, and runners, they don't want to run. It's really convenient if they just get to sit back, set up, and just don't do anything until they have to. So you need to make initiative happen. If you are losing games on JNet, for instance, I guarantee you that it is because you are not actioning your win conditions fast enough. The way that I win in paper play tournaments a lot of the time, especially in Swiss rounds, is if I get the gist, the vibe that my opponent isn't very confident and is not a seasoned player, I just assume that they're not going to put anything forward early in their remote servers. They're not going to push their win conditions as fast as they can. So I always, if I get the sniff that I'm up against a newer player, I take my time as the runner and just set up. And as the Corp, I make sure that I go faster, even faster than I normally would, because I know that they don't want to interact. They want to sit back, play a little bit of solitaire, maybe hit some singles, and just generally play slowly. They don't interact with me quickly enough, and that gives me enough time to guarantee that I win and make sure that I like my Swiss win rate is really good. So yeah, do not fall for this. Going slow is not control. Going slow is not more thoughtful. It's actually how fast can you possibly go without bottoming out is the skill test of NetRunner. It's not, I'm going to assemble all my breakers like Exodia and then win. You got to go faster than that a lot of the time. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something useful out of that. Whether you're a new or intermediate or even experienced player, these are general ideas that I think are very consistent pretty much no matter what you're playing. I tried to keep this list all to like in the gameplay. Obviously, this would be an entirely separate list if I was including deck building and specific like matchup stuff. But this is just like once you're sat at the NetRunner table, how do you play properly? What are people doing wrong? Yeah, fun to make. Curious to see if you guys have any more ideas or feedback. Just chuck them in the comments if you have a tip that helped you that you heard. Always looking for new advice that I can give. And if you want NetRunner coaching, you can message me on Discord. I do a lot of coaching, so I'm getting better and better at it. My students all have given me really positive feedback, and I can put you in touch with them if you would like a vouch. And yeah, have a great time playing NetRunner. I'll see you playing online. I'll see you at the tournament I'm going towards this year. So if you'll be there, say hi and have a lovely day. Goodbye.